Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel, and before we get started today, I am going to announce the winner to our last giveaway. And the winner for the last giveaway is Danica Barkley. I hope I'm saying it right, but we will have your name listed. And for today's nails, we will do something springy. So we're just springing forward to spring, so getting ahead of the games, guys. So it's pretty, as simple, trendy, and I'm gonna use I'm actually doing it a little bit shorter this time because you guys know that I do them extra long all the time, but I've seen a lot of people liking the short nails a lot lately, so I'm just gonna try the shorter nails just to see how I like it. So alright guys, check it out. I already have the Notpolish XL tips on, and what I'm doing right now is I'm actually pinching the tip. You see that? I am gonna give it a good squeeze to pinch it in so it'll be more narrow, so when I'm applying on my powder I won't lose the C curve of it. So okay, and we're using number M68 from Notpolish, you see. So I'm gonna apply it close to the cuticles but not too close, and you notice how the fingernails, again, make sure you guys point it downward, okay? And clean your brush, dip it in a little bit monomer, and first thing first, flush it into the cuticle first, all right? And then now we're gonna work it down to the body of the nail, and lightly just tap, play around your acrylic a little bit so it will set, it will be dry, a little bit drier. Once it's already a little bit drier, then you can start pulling it towards the tip of the nail, because when it's too wet, do not pull it because you end up dragging off too much of the product. And then we're just gonna cut off at the end just like that. And again, back to my pinching. So when we pinch the nail tip, what it's gonna do is gonna help retain the C curve, okay guys? So if you guys are doing it long or short, make sure you guys pinch the nail tip just like I did. All right, now back to the acrylic again. So put it close to the cuticles, hold it for a second like that, and then clean your brush, dip it in a little bit monomer, and then now we're gonna flush it into the cuticles, and make sure the nails is pointing downward, okay guys? Make sure you hold it downward angle like this. And again, I probably mentioned in a lot of my other videos, gravity is your best friend, so make sure you go with gravity, not against gravity, because then your product will be spilling everywhere. So, and I am pairing my Notpolish powder with the Notpolish monomer. It does not have that strong smell, so if you guys have used it before, you notice that it's not a strong smell like other EMA liquid, right? And then cut it off at the end just like that. And then make sure you guys keep the shape of the nails when you guys apply on your product, okay? Do not let it lose the shape. You're just gonna end up spending a lot of time shaping later. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just kind of like using the body of my brush, just kind of pressing the product into the shape. And now that is done, and we are keeping this shape a square, okay? Not even a taper square, it's more so like a square, like a wider square. So I'm just gonna lightly taper in the side of the nails just like this. Don't do too much, because when you do too much, you end up taking in too much of the size. So make it too thin, and we're not going for that taper square. We're doing a old school square, just square nails. All right. And now that it's done, we're gonna go in and smooth out the top of the nails. And again, I am using my 5-in-1 cross bit. No, actually this is not a cross bit, this is a super cut, so this is more of a finer grit from Notpolish also, guys. You will love, once you guys use this bit, you won't want to use anything else, I promise you that, okay? Once you guys try this bit, you will not want to try anything else. Okay, so now I'm just going to smooth out the top. And then once that's done, we're going to go in with the Notpolish hand file. And this time, don't give it too much we're not going to file too much, right? Because we don't want to lose these shapes. So I'm just going to make sure I straighten out the edges. Make sure it's like super straight, just like that. And make sure you hang on when you're holding the nail to shape. Make sure you hold on to the finger too, just not the nail, okay? Because that's gonna jiggle the fingernail too much. Does that make sense? All right, now we're just gonna straighten out the top of the nails just like that. You see that? There you go. And then what I like to do is, well, you know, flip the client's hand over and look from this angle right here, because sometimes when you look from the other angle it looks straight, but from the client's point of view it might not be straight. So just double check it by doing that. And then now I'm gonna go underneath the nails to kind of even out the curve a little bit. You see that? And it's kind of a little bit thicker on that side, so I'm gonna smooth that side out to make sure that it's all one even round curve. You see that C curve? Look at that. Okay, you see it's clean it underneath a little bit too. Okay, there. And now we can see that curve. Okay, now you can see, look, there you go. Okay, and now we're gonna go in and give it a nice strong buff. Make sure it's nice and super smooth, or else when you paint on your gel line it won't be straight, because if your acrylic is uneven, your gel lines won't go on straight. All right, now I'm gonna find the center of the nail first. I'm gonna dot it right there, and then I'm gonna pull from this angle all the way to the center of the nail, just like that. There you go. I'm just gonna make sure cover that top piece. Okay, and then from this side I'm gonna go all the way up from there, and then I'm gonna bring it all the way to that center that I you know, marked earlier. There you go. Make sure you just center that, and then just even out the center. I say that a lot, huh? Okay, now that looks good. We're gonna go in with the same brush and just color in our French tips. And then I'm doing this, I'm just coloring it in. So when I do these French nails, right, like these kind of French nails, I find a gel polish that's a little bit thicker, just so I only have to use one coat. I hate using two coats with the French tip, because the tips end up looking too bulky and it just looks too thick. If you paint the whole nail, it's okay, but if it's only the tip and you have 2 or 3 coats on, it doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. So I just try to find it like the gel a little bit on the thicker side and just paint one coat with the French. And for this nail, I just gonna swoop it all the way around just like that, and then just halfway, and then I connect it from the other half down just like that. This is super easy. This is like the easy part. Well, I think they all pretty simple. There you go. And then I'm just gonna go across, and then this is the French that I don't know what you call it, like I don't know what this is called, but I saw one of the nail artists on Instagram did it, and I love it. So I'm like, I'm gonna give it a little try, add a little bit of my spin onto it, but I love it. Because we're trying to be ahead of the game, right guys? It's spring nails right now. So, and then I'm gonna put another smaller line right there, right just across. When I do straight lines, I just try to not I just try to go one swoop right across like that. Don't try to pick up your brushes too many times, because your line end up looking jagged or like, you know, choppy. And then another line, and then I'm gonna color it in just like this across. And then now we're gonna cure it under the light for 30 seconds, and now that is cure. What I'm doing right now, I'm just using a brush, an ombre brush from Notpolish, just dusting on the pigment on top of the nail. You guys remember I did this a lot on my other video, so I don't have to get too much details with that one. And I'm going to use another green on top of it. And again, if you guys don't have pigment, you can use any of your super vibrant acrylic color. It will have the same effect. It's just a little bit less vibrant, but it's still pretty bright. So if you guys don't have pigment, just use your bright acrylic color, and that is fine. So once this is done, I'm going to use another brush, a cleaner brush, like a different brush. I'm just going to dust off the pigment, and whatever is still stuck on there is okay, because when we're done with this, well, I'll get to that part later. So I'm just going to dust off what I can right now, and I'm using a jewelry gel from Notpolish, kind of cut off earlier. So I'm using a jewelry gel because it's a little bit thicker, and this is a non-cleansing jewelry gel, so you don't, it won't have a tacky finish, so it will be perfect for this. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just gonna go over the top of where the pigment is at, like where the white the color is at, right? And then I'm gonna, and then before, do not cure it under the light, okay? Don't cure it under the light. What I'm using right now is a white glitter from Notpolish. Also, I'm gonna sprinkle on top of the wet gel, and then we're gonna cure it under the light for 30 seconds. Once it's cured, we're gonna have your client go wash their hands so it can get rid of all the pigment that was on earlier. And now we're gonna put on the transfer gel. You see how when they go wash their hands, the pigment will come right off. So just do your whole design and then sprinkle on the white glitter, and then have them go wash their hands. And then now we're going to go in and finish it off with the transfer gel, because we're going to put some butterflies on top of this. There you go. We're just going to stick it on there. And with the transfer gel, the trickiest thing is make sure you guys cure it long enough, okay? If it's too wet, it will be a bad, it won't work for the transfer in. So if you guys do mess up, like if the sticker does not transfer like how you like it, just use some acetone and wipe it off, and just put on the transfer gel again. So now I'm going to go in and draw on these little white stars. So I do my dots first, and then I'm going to draw out my 4 corners just like that. And then once this is done, I'm going to cure it under the light for 30 seconds also. So again, guys, make sure you guys cure the transfer gel long enough, okay? If it's not enough light on it, it will not transfer correctly. So make sure your light is strong enough, or cure it long enough for it, and then for the sticker to transfer over properly. And if it didn't, just make sure you use acetone, wipe it off, and then start over. So it's pretty easy fix if it doesn't work, right? Just use some acetone and wipe it off, and then just paint on the transfer gel again and start over. And once this is done and cure, what I did is I used a tiny drop of white and mix it with clear gel polish to dilute down the white. So I'm gonna put in the center like this to give it that like glowing effect. You see that? So mix a tiny bit of tiny bit of white with the clear gel polish, and then just mix it together, and then paint it on top of the stars like this to give it that glowing effect. I don't have a dotting tool. Usually dotting tool is a lot easier. I'm using a little scissor because I don't have a dotting tool, but usually dotting tool works a lot better than this. Okay guys, you see how I give it that like little glowy effect? So that's how you get the glow effects to the little stars like that. There you go. And then now we're going to cure it under the light again. Once this is cured, I am going to go in with the Notpolish matte top coat, just like that. Cover up the whole nail. Now earlier when I used the transfer gel, I didn't want to paint it super close to the cuticles because there's no point for that, right? So I just painted like a little further down from the cuticles, because I'm going to go over it with a matte top coat anyway. So, and I'm not going to put the butterflies all the way up to the cuticle, so no need for that. And this is the finished product. Super cute, super stringy,